Everyone. Hello to Goal-Setting Series number 2.
Number two.
And Darian is back.
Hi. I'm so happy to be back. I just this is one of my favorite times of the year. And I was telling Sierra, I was like, I feel like it's like our Super Bowl. Like our Goal-Setting Series is like our Super Bowl. So
I know. Well, it's good to have you back. And if you guys missed the announcement, Darian is going to be on stage at Go Wild in March talking about digital planning. So congratulations.
I'm so excited. I'm just really excited. Like I literally have no words. Other than I'm so excited.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
All right. How's everyone doing? Let's talk.
How are y'all doing? Where are you tuning in from? Yes. I've seen someone in the house from India. Hey. What time is it there? Yes?
Yeah. Yes. We've got people tuning in from Australia, the UK, India, all over the US. Welcome, everyone. If you are new to MäksēLife, will you please jump into the comments. Tell us where you're tuning in from. Just say, I'm new here so that we can love on you. Look at all of these international friends.
Come on, Moxie fam. We international. Yes.
Yes, I love it. Oh, look at all of these. Oh, this is so awesome. Okay. Before we jump into anything, I am here to bless permission. If you did not get your homework done from session number 1, it is totally okay. Those were big asks, but I wanted to give you guys some action steps in case you needed them or wanted them. But use this whole month to keep working in your annual goals, your intentions page. If you need more time, kind of working through the compass assessment, you want to go deeper into that, we've got our compass assessment worksheet in our Facebook group, and I believe it's on our website now. So, okay, we've got some questions for you guys before I...
Yes. And speaking of the prep work, so if you've been around the parts for a while, you know that sometimes I tend to just skip some things and just dive right into like the action part of things. Like, let me just write the goals down, write the things, but I took the time to read through our prep work. I marked it up. I was highlighting, annotating, and it was so great and so magical. And I know it is, but it was nice to refresh that. So even if this isn't your first time around the parks, I still encourage you to go back, refresh yourself. And it was just really eye-opening. And I was like, I'm so ready and pumped for tonight because it's just, yeah.
Well, and everyone is posting in our Facebook group the work that they've done, and it's making me excited. I'm like, okay, this is fun. This is fun. So if you
Mhm.
have gotten any part of your process done, come to our free Facebook group and post, ask questions. If you need help breaking down goals, because we're going to be talking about that tonight. If you're struggling with something specific and you're finding yourself stuck, bring it to the group, because there's so much wisdom there and so many people willing to help.
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm looking at these comments and I love seeing all our newbies. If you're new, thank you for letting us know. If are a returning member, go ahead and love up on our newbies. Tell them one thing that Makselife, you love about Makselife, or something that you've accomplished this year with the help of Makselife. But love them up, encourage them. But Sierra, I'm really curious. But what is one goal that you have for 2023 that fires you up? We want to know. Let us know in the comments. And
Yeah.
Sierra, I'm going to ask you to share your one goal.
Oh, you want me to?
Like we can't ask a question and not answer it.
Okay. So it's funny because I prep for my goals in my phone, and I start these like about mid-year, because I do kind of a refresh. And so I put all of the areas of life in my phone, and I kind of use that as like a think tank Dropbox of all of my ideas. And I have so many that I'm like, I need to pare this down because I get really ambitious. Okay, something that I is not a strength of mine, and is my husband's, and also Chrissy, who's my operations manager's love language, is words of affirmation. I think them all the time. I am building meaningful words of affirmation to someone every single day. And I'm looking forward to that, because it's a stretch for me. I think it, I feel it. I don't always verbalize it. So I'm like, I'm going to track it as a habit to have meaningful affirmations towards someone else every single day.
I love that.
I'm excited about it.
And
Yeah,
I can tell.
I know. I'm like, this is going to be fun. I'm
Yes.
sure lots will be coming your way.
I'm ready. I'm excited because I get to benefit from this goal.
Yes. What about you?
I love that. Oh, I have one that immediately came to the forefront of my head, and I'm so scared to say it out loud, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'm really fired up about writing this year. I'm working on writing a web series. So, yes, that's something that really fires me up. I'm really passionate about it, of like creating. So I'm just really excited about that. I said that out loud.
You did say that out loud. I am like, I didn't know you were going to share that. I am so excited. You basically have 400 accountability partners that are going to remind you in case, you can just come to them. We'll all champion you.
Love that. Yes, y'all, these goals are so awesome. We got Stand Up House, writing an article. Yes.
I have a fun goal win that I realized as I was putting together images in my Pinterest board for 2023. And I saw my vision board. I have them from the last 8 years on Pinterest, that private, but I had a Go Wild logo on a stage for my 2019 vision board, and I am going to be speaking at Go Wild in March. And so I just wanted to share that because I was like, this stuff works, you guys. So look at these goals, you guys. These are awesome.
These are so awesome, y'all. I love these goals. And if you're Team Replay, let us know. Let us know. Put those goals in. We want to cheer you on and fire you up as well. So
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We have a lot to cover today. So for those of you who are new, some of this stuff is going to be new concepts. We're going to be inviting you to really systematize your big vision and your longer goals, which can feel a little bit of a stretch, in that it is likely not a system or method that you've used in the past. And for those of you who have been with us for a long time, I guarantee you're going to get gold nuggets and be able to take your process even deeper with some of the information that we're going to be going over tonight. So series number 1 was really leaning heavy on our free resources on our website. Majority of what we're going to be talking about tonight is actually inside of our planners in the instructions, I go very deep into this. So this is what Darian was talking about, where we talk about how to write goals, how to know when it's time to commit or remove a certain goal, how to write goals. We're going to be talking about all that kind of stuff, the 3 different types of goals we have. And then in here also talk about questions and steps for how to write your annual goals, how to do your monthly goals, how to do your weekly actions, your weekly reflections. So I'm going to be going over these pages specifically that will help you bring your goals through each month and each week in your planners. So we have lots of good stuff. And I'm going to give you some tips. It's a revisit for some of you on Club Moxie 1.0. But if you've got those pesky task items or goals that are not getting done, or they keep rolling over and you're like, what is up with this? I'm going to give you some tips at the end. So like how to finally get rid of it.
Yes. If y'all are excited and ready, go ahead and let us know in the comments. Put your emojis, the dance, the hand claps, whatever. We feel it over here on this side of the screen because I'm so ready.
Me too. I'm more excited about goals this year than I have been in a really long time.
I am too.
Is it because we're coming out of a crazy funk of the last couple years?
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I'm just like electric with energy and excitement for 2023, which I'm just like.
Yes. Oh, look at these comments. I'm just loving these comments come through. All right, you guys, let's jump in. Let's jump in because we've got a lot to cover tonight. Darren, you want to go ahead and throw us on the screen because I know I'm going to mess it up. All right. So tonight we're going to be discussing breaking down your goals into monthly goals and weekly actions. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the importance of reflections in your process. And my hope is for all of you that you will incorporate weekly reflections into your process every single week. It's a really small suggestion in our planner. And I'll show you when we get to that screen. But I personally believe that the reflections are probably one of the most important steps because of the fact that it is going to give you the insight, or it gives us the insight that we often seek outside of ourselves, that may not always be in alignment with what we are working on for ourselves. So it takes that external validation and need for approval or attaboys, that kind of stuff, and makes it become an internal process. And it helps us set meaningful goals every single week. So we're going to go ahead and jump in on this. Hold on. Okay. So part 1, we discussed, if you missed that, go back and watch that. I talk about the 5 steps in our system. Again, if you don't have our planners, totally fine. Most of those steps are on our website. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the breaking down the goals aspect of it, carrying basically the system part of stuff. And then on Friday, we're going to be discussing mindset, which is probably one of my favorite topics. And we're going to be discussing that in part 3. So definitely don't miss that one. All right. I'm leaning into this year. When we feel our best, and this is physically, mentally, and emotionally, we do our best. And I want to invite all of you to really think about this when you're writing your goals. I think that we have been socialized to look at taking care of our needs and feeling good as though it's something we should feel bad about or apologize for, or that we don't tend to make time for. It's not valued as much as it needs to be. And part of setting goals the way we do it in MäksēLife is taking that focus from the external and turning it inwards and creating a life that feels good from the inside out. And so as we go through our goals, whether it's your annual goals or your monthly goals or your weekly actions, please always be thinking, how can I make sure that I am tending to myself so I feel my best? Because then I get to show up for everyone and everything else in my life, my very best as well. And it's not selfish, okay? And if you need a reminder of that, we will love you up and remind you are not selfish. And this is so important. It's a very important mindset around setting goals. Okay, so this is step 4 in your planners that we're going to go deep in. This is where most of the questions come into play, like how do I do all this stuff? How do I stick with it? And again, this is going to be, if you really want to pull this system through, this is where our planners and our planning supplies come into play. So if you have any questions about what type of planner or product would work best for you, feel free to come to our Facebook group or ask in the comments and you'll get lots of answers. Okay, so Step number 4, this is going to allow you, breaking down your goals monthly and weekly is giving you a system that allows you to play in your goals instead of it being something that is like written in blood at the beginning of the year. You have the opportunity to completely revise and refresh as you need. There are no rules here. And that is something that may feel kind of foreign. How did you feel when you started? Because didn't you skip monthly goals for like the longest time? Let's talk about that for a sec.
I think I did. I just didn't know how to like go about doing them. I've just always been like annual goals and
Right.
the weekly, like, but it was like that in between where I was just like, uh. So I
Right.
do remember skipping some like monthly goals at the beginning. And I believe there was another person who we know who's also done that. I can't remember.
Yeah. And so that's a thing too. So if you're just getting started with goal setting and any part of this feels overwhelming for you, that is 1000% okay. Jump in where it feels most comfortable. We tend to favor or be better at one type of goal over another. So some of us are really good with the long-term goals and the shorter-term goals kind of throw us off, or vice versa. We're better at the short-term goals and we don't necessarily like the bigger ones. It's usually once you've been doing this after a couple of years that you'll be good at both, but it takes practice. So if you're finding some resistance around either long-term or short-term goals, allow that to have its space and jump in where it feels most comfortable for you. So either one of these, if there was one that I would recommend that you just jump into right away, it would be your weekly actions. Mm-hmm. So if you literally were going to drop anywhere into our system, jump into the weekly actions because that is so quick and fresh and it's going to keep you going and thinking quicker. And so you'll quickly start to figure out like, oh, okay, yeah, this is working or not working for me. So the having the monthly and weekly focus gives you that fresh start. And that's another thing that we love is that if you feel like you have fallen off or you have a really off week or month, it's okay because you get to do it all over again if you want and refocus and recalibrate with whatever you need. But this is also where I think our system really differentiates itself from other systems. And this is where life management starts to come into play. This is where my background as a life coach and this being focused around life coaching principles really comes into play because what we are asking you to do is instead of just looking at big overarching large stretch goals, we're saying, okay, how's every aspect of my life working? What's not working and what's required of me or what do I need in this area? And it allows you to integrate kind of like that gray area between goals and tasks and to-dos and appointments and really meld them together to make sure that they're in good harmony with each other. So I'm going to go into tips around how to do that. So a question that I actually saw in the Facebook group today.
Yeah, I did too.
I know, perfect. This is great. Someone asked, what do you do for the focus? So there is a little tip in your planner. So this is why it's really important to read through all the instructions because some of these are kind of hidden. We discuss the...
Here, I'm going to take this off so we can...
Thank you. Down here under the monthly goals is the tip that talks about the focus. And I also want to show you this because if you have the planners and you're going to be going through these steps and you feel lost, you're like, I'm at my annual goals or I'm at my monthly goals or my weekly actions. What am I supposed to do? Or I'm writing the same things over and over again. Follow these steps because these steps are going to walk you through. Like if I was with you sitting at a table and we were walking through like how to figure out what direction you're going to go or what you're going to write down, those steps on there are the questions that I would ask of you to pull out what it is that is going to be the most meaningful and purposeful for you that week, that month, that year. So definitely lean on those if you feel lost. Okay, go ahead and throw that back up. But the monthly focus was a new ad, I think in year 2, because I was always writing it. And then I'm like, wait, everyone, let's have everyone write this. Mm-hmm. So the focus is an area for you on the monthly goals for you to be mindful about what you want your main focus to be in each area of life. Now, this can be goal specific. It can be an intention. It can be a single word. It can be a feeling. It can be a mantra, an affirmation, whatever it is. But that focus needs to support you in that area of life and what you're working towards.
I like.
So like, for example, my annual goals for personal, it was peace and contentment. And that's all I wrote. That is my focus this year, peace and contentment. And all of my goals were, peace, contentment, and connections. That's what it was. And all of my goals are all kind of falling under that focus. And so it's just another way to just kind of bring more intentionality and more purpose into the goals that you're writing. And every month you'll have a chance to figure out what that focus is that month. Maybe one month, you're maybe have a challenge or a struggle with one thing, and you just want to give yourself a little love, a pep talk, remind yourself that is your focus that month, whatever it is. So there's no rules here. You can use it however you want.
I love that. I always struggle with this area. I'm like, what do I want to? And I just skip it. But I love the permission to put an affirmation or a mantra or an intent, like whatever that. I love that. Okay.
It can be a word. It can just be a word. There's no rules. No rules.
No rules.
No rules. So here's some powerful questions to ask yourself for the focus. What goals are you working on? So if you're stuck, I don't know what to write. What goals are you working on? What is the most important? What do you need? How do you want to feel? What are you managing right now? What's required of you? And how can you support yourself in that area? If you kind of come from that mindset, and hopefully you'll start to see a theme here. All of this is self-acceptance and self-love in action. You are showing up for yourself in a very meaningful, awesome way. Because imagine if you had someone in your life who was literally behind you at all times asking these questions of you. Would you not feel loved, supported, encouraged, inspired? So this is a lesson too. It's not just goals. It's not just managing your life. It's also giving you an opportunity to really make the most important relationship you have in your life, which is with yourself, a meaningful and purposeful one. Okay, so that's the focus. If you guys have questions about that, feel free to pop them in. I know we can catch some questions at the end, but I want to jump into the goals because there's a lot here. There's a lot. One of the biggest questions we get is, do I have to set goals in all 8 areas of life? And the short answer is no. You don't have to do anything. There's no rules. Nobody's going to be grading you or seeing if you're doing it right. We are not judging. I do not judge your guys' goals. However, I would like to offer a perspective that every single one of these areas of life are in action at all times. You have a financial life. You have a physical environment life. You have people in your life, relationships, or your health and wellness, and higher meaning and your personal growth. All that stuff is just kind of going. What this does is it makes it be something that you consider, because we all have certain areas of our life that we maybe favor over others. For me, my work and learning is always above a 7, usually. I don't know if I've ever graded under a 7. However, my fun and recreation is constantly hitting a ceiling at like 4 or 5. Right?
Mine is low too. It's low.
You can do it. You can do it. I know you can. And I have a sense of humor because I've been doing this for so long, and I do know it is my weakness. I have to meaningfully plan my fun and recreation, or I will let it go, and then I'll be a grouchy pants, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. And so what it does is this is giving us an opportunity to consider how things are working. Are they working? To repeat the things that are, to find opportunities where it's not, and then also be pulling our big vision through into our monthly focus. So this is basically an option or an area for you to chunk down and check in on your annual goals. And so these are the most important items that need to be completed in that month. But here are some additional questions to ask yourself when you're sitting at your monthly goals for each area of life. What actions support that focus? So if you have a focus that's specific, for example, like for me was peace and connection, what am I going to do personally this month that would support that? I gave the example of having meaningful words of encouragement or affirmation towards someone else. Like I would put that on my personal goals. Review the annual goals and see what you can accomplish this month. So I'm going to talk in a second about if you are one of those people who say, I have this really big goal, but I don't know how to chunk it down. in the spirit of taking action and then reflecting, instead of getting stuck in the plans and waiting until you have it all figured out before you take action, ask yourself, what is one thing I can accomplish today, this week, this month towards that goal? And worry about that next best step instead of worrying about all of the steps, because most of the time, all of those steps that we do even pre-plan, if we're that awesome to like get it all figured out, perfectly, at some point there's going to be a pivot point and things are going to probably go off plan. And so I cannot encourage you guys enough to just really lean into taking imperfect action, especially this year. This is my focus for all of you who are going to be in Club Moxie. Like, we are taking action. We are making shit happen this year. We are doing it.
Make it happen.
Yes. We are doing it. So review your previous month's goals. So look back. If you have previous month's goals, look back, and there's different ways you can do this. So you can I highlight my wins or things I accomplished. I also use a page in my planner for my accomplishments each month. So I'll write those down. But the point here is to give yourself a pat on the back and acknowledge what you are getting done, even if it's just one or two things. That is one or two things more than you would have either gotten done or even given yourself acknowledgement for if you weren't going through this process. And this doesn't have to take forever. This can take, I don't know, it takes me about 10 to 15 minutes to do my monthly goals each month. And I do it pretty fast. Sometimes I go in and add stuff as time goes on, but it doesn't have to be something that we get stuck in our head over. It can be done quick. And then also look at what needs to be carried over or removed from your previous month, and then carry that over. So again, these are all steps inside of your planner. I do walk you through these step by step. So if you have our planners, don't worry, it's all in our planners. Another thing I want you to consider is, what are habits or routines that you want to nurture that maybe came from your intentions page or something that you're working on this month or this week that is important to you. Consider actions for events, dates, or deadlines that are coming up. This is part of that life management aspect of things, because that stuff will likely also be important, especially if there's prep tasks that need to be completed ahead of time. Those are important things to put down on your monthly goals and your weekly actions too. There's going to be a lot of carryover on both of these. You'll notice when I talk about that. And then this is a really important one. What do I want or need to accomplish this month in that particular area of life? And I'll give you an example. Like, this time of year is always really crazy for me because of launch season and then the holidays. And I swear my entire family's birthdays all fall within like 2 weeks in November. And it just feels like, whoa, it's a lot. It is a lot. And so I give myself permission to let appointments like dentist and car maintenance and that kind of stuff go to the wayside. I also give myself a lot of grace around keeping my house immaculately clean and totally caught up on laundry. This is not the season to do it. Otherwise, I would be a very unhappy Sierra. It would not be good. And so what I do in January is I sit down, and that's when I say, okay, my health and wellness, I schedule all my doctors and dentist appointments, because that's my focus now. I put it on hold. That now has become what I want and need. And that's my focus. And then I'll book in everything else, because I'm like, okay, my house is a mess. That's stressing me out. Those goals may not be attached to my annual goals, but they are very, very important to me to get caught back up on in January. And this allows me to be mindful to ensure that that is something that I get done. The more clear that you are about where you want to be spending your time and energy will make it that much easier for you to say no to the stuff that doesn't matter. Your time will be taken up with all the stuff that you truly care about. Okay. So for those of you who may be saying, what if I don't know how to break my bigger goal down into smaller steps? This is a big one. Do a little hand if you're feeling it. Have you ever felt this way? Okay. We talk about this in Club Moxie. It's called power appointments that we've talked about. And it's a concept of what is your next best step? And if you just think one step ahead instead of 20 or 50 or even 10, what is that first or next best step that you need to take to gain progress or momentum? That's it. We're not looking to take over the world, change our life, cross that finish line yet. What is that next best step? And that's going to drop you into taking action right away. You're going to be hopefully asking yourself that on a monthly, weekly, and daily basis, and that will just keep you going forward. Don't allow the whole project or goal to overwhelm you. Just begin again and again and again. There's going to be times when you fall off, you lose momentum. It happens. We're human. We're messy. We do things messy. It's okay. It's totally fine. Just jump back in when you feel motivated and inspired to do it. And if after this you're still not sure, then go ahead and follow the monthly goal and weekly action steps, or bring it to the group and ask. Say, I'm working on this. I'm finding myself stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be a lot of people that can help you. So
Yeah.
I try to jump in with those as much as I possibly can, but this community is amazing.
For sure.
Okay. So reflections.
Let's talk about it, because this is one of my goals for this upcoming. I really want to get back to weekly reflections. I feel like I just let that slide this year, and I feel like I really need to get back into it. So I'm ready.
Yeah. Yes. I know it's good. And I probably was this year I was not as good with my reflections as I normally am. And I felt it. I actually felt it, like in my goal setting. I noticed that some of my goals were like more repetitive. They felt a little stale. It's in the reflections where you're going to get aha moments, where you're going to come up. Yeah. You're going to come up against like, oh,
Yeah.
here's what's not working. I'm seeing a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Or here's how I'm getting in my way, and it just helps you literally just drop right in to what's good, not good, and just immediately take action and decisively decide what your focus is going to be for that week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I need it. I need it. Yes. It's like the vegetables. Like, I struggle to eat my vegetables, but I know I need them to make me healthy. And it's like the same thing with reflections and our goal setting. I know it's such a vital part of our goal setting system, and it literally gives so much insight. So
yeah. So the questions are a mere suggestion on the top, but if I was to, like I said, I've had people ask me, well, then why don't you just write the questions down on the page? Well, I'm also a planner person. And I also know how much us planner people have our own way of doing things, and that honestly, if those were just questions written out every week, there would be a lot of empty pages, and some people that would be like, would I use that for something else? And so it's there so that you can use them. You've got your coaching tip at the bottom every week that guides you through the whole year. It's just a little words of encouragement from my perspective of common pain points or challenges that happen timely throughout the year. So they are timed in there throughout your planner on purpose. But you're going to ask yourself, what were my wins? So again, that's focusing on what you're doing good. Like, we need to focus on what we are doing well and how we're showing up for ourselves and in our lives more often than we do, and give ourselves credit. That's what makes us feel good. That's the stuff that keeps us going. That's the things that build that inner wealth and that confidence and all of those inner skills and traits that nobody and nothing, no external circumstances can take away. That is all ours, and it is ours to forever. And so, so reflect on those wins, reflect on what's working, keep doing what's working, what isn't working, make changes. And that is also going to give you a lot. That's going to keep you dynamic with your life too, because you're going to have goals that come up. Like, say, for example, you've got tension in a key relationship in your life, and you're asking yourself, like, what's not working this week? Like, for example, something that comes up for me all the time is screen time. Any parents here with screen time issues? I have a 12-year-old. I don't need to say anymore. And if you've ever loved a 12-year-old, you know that this is a crazy conversation in our household. And it repeatedly shows up in what's not working. So it gives me an opportunity. It's a thing. It gives me an opportunity to create timely and meaningful family goals around screen time, or how I'm going to become a better parent in communicating my frustration around screen time discussions, and considering maybe my son's perspective instead of just being a parent, And so that's just an example where this process, this system, these questions, this consideration and this curiosity is going to continually help you manage your life so that it feels good and it's harmonious, that things are going well for you, and that whatever you said you were going to do on January 1st is still relevant in June or September or October. Those reflections. Do those reflections. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, this is a question we get asked a lot. Dearie, do you know what I'm going to go? So many people have asked, are you supposed to write your reflections? What side of the page?
That is like the number.
And when I created this, I never knew that I never thought that that was going to be a thing.
Yeah,
so
people.
No, and it makes sense. Like after it got asked, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right. So people have asked, when you're looking at your planner or you have your pages open, what week are you doing the reflections on? So here's what we recommend. This page on the left-hand side should be for the previous week. So as you get done with your page, you turn it over and you're going to reflect on the week that just happened. And that's your space to just see how's everything going. And then you're going to move over to your weekly actions with that new insight and that new perspective. So the weekly actions are your opportunity I didn't write weekly goals. Notice that. It's weekly actions. What actions are you taking in your life?
Oh, I like that. I mean,
did you never notice that?
I mean, I've been with you for so many years, and I still like. She didn't put weekly goals. She put weekly actions. Like,
yeah, that's important. That's an important distinction.
The chains that just got unlocked on some of my parts of my brain right now, just like,
yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, and I'm glad because we need to talk about this. And I think that there is a mindset shift opportunity here because it's a lot easier to mess up on an action that you said, I want to try and do this thing, but I didn't, whatever. There's a lot more permission to get messy with your goals. If you just look at it as here's a week of actions I either did or didn't do. And the information that I get from these actions is going to carry into next week, but all of them filter into a bigger vision. So get messy here. Try stuff on. Put too many actions down. Put not enough. And then somewhere your pendulum is going to swing and you're going to find what your flow is and what works for you. So much permission. I cannot stress enough. Give yourself so much permission to have fun with these pages and fail and make mistakes and do it wrong. Okay. And I'm saying that because those are the things that prevent people from actually putting pen to paper and doing this process. So I want to see mistakes. In fact, if you made a mistake or things did not get done, post it to the group so we can applaud you for just taking action and getting your actions on paper. Okay. Because that is something to celebrate.
Yes.
Can we celebrate that?
Yes.
All right. So weekly actions, these are your actions, tasks, and habits that will help you achieve your monthly goals and focus and manage your life. So this is really where life management, and this is the life coaching aspect of things, really come into play. This is what really sets our system apart from any other system out there. There's no other system that asks you every single week, how is everything going in my life? So you're going to do your weekly reflections. You're going to ask yourself, what adjustments do I need to make? What needs to be carried over or removed from the previous week? You're going to look at what actions support your monthly focus. So again, that is, what are you working towards? You're going to review your monthly goals. What can you accomplish this week that are going to take you closer to your monthly goals? And again, I saw someone ask, are these questions or steps inside the planner? Yes, they are. So again, those pages inside your planner, it shows 5 steps for annual goals, monthly goals, and weekly actions. This, in a nutshell, is what is on those pages. I'm just going a little bit deeper. Okay, what habits and routines are you working on? Use your habit tracker in your planner if there's a habit, so you can check it every single day. Those are available in our flagship planners, or we also have habit sticky notes.
Are you about to hear me?
Oh, I'm like here. So you've got your habit tracker, and if you have specific habits that you want to carry through more than just one item a week or month, you can use that. And then, like I said, we have the habit sticky notes. If you are in another system and you want to track your habits, that's something that you can have as well. Consider actions for events, dates, or deadlines that you have coming up. And what do I want or need to accomplish this week? in each area of life. And I've had people ask me like, "Oh, I feel like this is kind of like a glorified to-do list." And it may resemble that. But what I see your weekly actions being different from your task or to-do list is that you've intentionally said these are the most important things in these areas of life. If nothing else got done, but I got these things done, I'm good. Whereas my to-do list is full of a lot of very unimportant stuff, but I just would like to get it done or it needs to get done. But if it didn't get done, no big deal. Like, I mean, I'll just be annoyed or stressed out, but like it's not the most important thing. So this weekly actions page is for you to really decide this is the most important thing in each area of my life, or none at all. You may have an empty box for, I don't know, financial or work and learning. Who knows? Whatever it is, it's totally okay. I also want to give you a little tip here, because there will be times in your life where doing goals feels like too much. If you're in a state of survival, if time and energy bandwidth is low, there's a really good chance you're going to fall behind in your goals. Okay. That's totally okay. Empty pages, blank pages are part of your story too. Just pick back up when you can. That's the beauty of the system. That weekly actions page is going to be there for you on week 2, week 22, and week 52. So it will always be there for you. If you don't want to write goals, write an affirmation. Give yourself a pep talk. Be like, it is okay. I give myself permission to not do laundry this weekend, or I give myself permission to not touch the stove this week because it is stressful. I give myself permission to sleep in on Saturday. I give myself permission to say no. I give myself permission, whatever. If you need whatever it is that you need. And here's another tip. If looking forward feels like a lot, this is really especially important if you are struggling with any kind of mental health challenge, depression, anxiety, anything like that. Another great tip is under this weekly reflections page is to go back and retroactively write down what you got done, how you showed up for yourself, how the ways that you're winning, what is good, what you're grateful for. It doesn't always have to be something that you're focused forward. It's just, are you considering how all areas of your life are doing and showing up for yourself the way that you need?
Oh, so
Okay.
good.
Okay. So the last part of the reflections and our system that kind of tie this all together is the monthly reflections and the quarterly assessment. I'm not going to go too deep into this because this is just a little bit of a repeat. The monthly reflections are in your planners. Those are a little bit deeper than the weekly reflections. If you can't do the weekly reflections, at least commit to your monthly reflections. And now I want to see goals for setting goals on your guys' goals. For example, I write down, do my weekly actions and on my personal goals. Do my weekly actions every Sunday. That's on my goals. I'm going to also put
Okay.
do my monthly reflections every month. Now, maybe if reflections are new for you, start just putting a goal for doing my monthly reflections every month and then work into weekly. Build your process and your system into your goals, because this is part of why you have all invested time and money. You are here with us for a reason. It's okay to keep yourself accountable for even your own process. And I think it's beautiful when I see people put like, write my goals every week, write my goals every month on their goals. So
yeah, I love that. Like, why haven't I done that? Like,
I know.
like I'm like, that goes like, I'm like, yeah, that's like my personal goal, my spiritual and personal growth. Like, what?
Yeah, I know. So you know what it is? We tend to overthink things or think that it has to be some huge thing, and it doesn't. Like, just what you do sometimes is enough. And if that thing that you do or you want to do, it's important to you, write it down. There's a reason why. If it gives you emotion, if it gives you inspiration, puts a smile on your face or your heart, put it down on your goals. Okay, it doesn't have to be external. It can be an intrinsic type goal, something that's intangible even. My husband was talking to me about some of his goals, and he's doing some personal work around some philosophy type stuff. And he's like, yeah, I just don't know how to create a goal but I'm really curious about this thing. And I'm like, that's a perfect goal. Like, lean into that. Like, what would is with that curiosity, like, what do you want to do with that curiosity? And he's like, well, I want to read a book about blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, well, there you go. There's a goal. Find a book that you want to read. So that's a goal for him this month. Find a book on this specific subject. And I'm sure his goal for next month will be to actually read the book. That's how we stay in alignment, by giving ourselves permission to allow our day-to-day to inspire what we're working towards, and that it's not just a focus on January 1st.
I need you to say it again, because I feel like I interrupted with my because it was so good. So I just need you to say that last part again.
I don't even know what I said.
You said something about the day-to-day and allowing our
let your day-to-day life inspire. I mean, you're actively creating your masterpiece every second of your day. And this is just giving you a place to do it purposefully and to stay conscious of how your life is working, or how your life is working for you, and directing its course when needed. So that's what these reflections do. They allow us to stay relevant with whatever's going on in our lives, with our relationships, with things that we don't have control over. One of my favorite quotes is, don't wish for it to be easier, wish for you to be better. And I think that this process, if there's anything that I've gotten through 20 years of doing goals this way, has been that I have zero control over what goes on out here. I have no control over people. I have no control, including my little people or my husband. I have no control except for myself. I can become better. I can't change any of that. And so this allows us to be better so that we can respond to our life in meaningful, purposeful ways. All right. So there's that. Okay. Let's talk real fast about those pesky to-dos. Okay.
Okay. Come on, a little bonus. She's throwing in a little bonus. And come on, extra. Yes. The 4 Ds of productivity.
The 4 Ds of productivity. This is the only time you're going to hear me talking about productivity, guys. This is the only time. Because productivity, I'm highly productive, but I hate pushing that agenda on anyone. Okay. But let's be honest. How many of us have, confession time. What is a task or goal that you guys have that you have not touched, that keeps rolling over, either mentally, if you haven't been setting goals, or it has been in your planner? What is a goal you always put off? I always put off my financial goals. I just have a thing.
It's health and wellness.
Health and wellness?
Yeah.
I do
always
that
put
too.
off those goals. Yeah.
I have like, I always talk about like money trauma because I grew up poor. I just embrace it. It's okay. I'm not trying to fix that part of me, but I have leaned into my husband around certain things where I'm like, look at this exercise. Yes. Okay. Budgeting. There's the financial. Anything that has shame attached to it likely is what you're not getting done. So that's just, I wasn't planning on talking about that today, but if you look for your shame, figure out where your shame's at, I guarantee your goals that you've set will not be getting done. And there's a lot to unpack there. This is the kind of stuff we cover in Club Moxie.
Listen, I'm like, oh, why are you all up in my business though? Like, that's so true.
It's so true. Oh. It's so true. Here's another thing that we don't really consider about goals or tasks that don't get done. We're not supposed to be doing everything, and we're not good at everything. No matter how amazing you are not great at everything. You're not, and you're not supposed to be. That's what makes us all beautiful. Like our team, none of us are great at all things, but together, all of us collectively just kick butt, And so take that same approach to life in each area of life too. And so I'm going to talk about that a little bit deeper here. So the 4 Ds of productivity, I did a quick Google search and I got lazy because I couldn't figure out whose brain created this. So this is not mine. This is some smart person who created this probably like 30 years ago. Okay. So the 4 Ds of productivity. The first one is do. So here's some powerful questions to ask yourself. Is it important? If the answer is yes to any of these, this is your task. Okay. Is it important? Is it time sensitive? And can it only be done by me? And if it's yes, then let's go ahead and do it. Now, you may still have something that is yes in all of those, and you're still not getting it done. And there's no judgment here. It happens. It's okay. Then if you're procrastinating, then either set a power appointment, which is what we talk about, where you set a timer for 15 minutes and just be like, I'm going to lock myself in a room until I get this done. I'm setting a timer and I'm not leaving until I get this done. And even if then it doesn't get done, then enroll someone to hold you accountable. So, for example, I had something that I needed to get done. Again, another financial goal. And it's something that would have taken me, I don't know, or it took me 5 minutes to do. Not even 5, probably 3 minutes, but I kept putting it off like month after month after month. And finally my husband kept asking me, he's like, did you do it? I'm like, no. And he's like, oh my gosh. Okay. I'm like, okay. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to go lock myself in a room and until it's done. And he's like, and if you don't, I'm like, I will wash your truck. Like, I will get out there in the like cold weather. And he's like, in a bikini. And I'm like, sure. Whatever.
I love Eric.
I know. I don't own a bikini, and I wouldn't be caught dead outside in a bikini washing a truck. But I was like, yeah, of course, whatever you want. I just knew that if I had something on the line that I did not want to do, that I would get it done. So get an accountability partner. Kids are amazing accountability partners. You promise them an ice cream and they will not leave you alone. So we have an accountability module in Club Moxie that I talk about this like way in depth. And there's a bunch of worksheets around like breaking this down if accountability is something that you want. An accountability partner is also a really great option. I highly recommend coming up with a reward and a consequence. I'm more motivated by consequences. What are you more? Like a reward, I'm like, I'll just do it if I just want to anyway. Like, but a consequence, and I tell someone about it, and you put money, like even $20.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's probably more consequence, because especially when you put money on the line, because then it's like a game, and I don't like losing. So
I know. Like, I won't even gamble. Like, if we were to go to a casino, I'm like, no, I worked hard for that money. No. In fact, I'm known for promising $100 to someone on the team to get something done that I've been procrastinating. And it's usually Chrissy because I talk to her all the time. But there's been times where I'm like, this needs to get done. It's not getting done. I'm going to pay you $100 if it doesn't get done by the end of the day. It always gets done. Always. Always. Gamify your life, guys. Gamify it. Have fun. Laugh. Have fun with this. Okay. It doesn't need to be done by you. If it's not important that it's done by you, then delegate. Now, this can be to anyone in your life, but look for more opportunities to delegate, especially those of you who are caretakers. You care for your family or little people or loved ones. If you are in a role of work that is caretaking, we tend to think that we need to do it, or it's not loving, or we're not being loving. We're not being the very best in that particular role, but we don't have to do all the things. And so getting clear on whether or not it must be done by you is really important, and delegate as much as you can. So ask yourself, am I the only one who can do this? Is this a strength of mine? Again, leaning back to that, we're not good at everything. And sometimes we procrastinate on things that are not a strength of ours, or that we have mental hangups over. Again, my finances, I have automated majority of everything just because I don't want to deal with it. And for those things that I can't automate, then I will tend to lean on my partner to step in, because I'm like, that's just not a strength, or I have mental hangups around that. And we've discussed that, and we have a system around how to hand off items to each other. Who am I the best person to handle it? Oftentimes, no, it could be handled by anyone else. And then identify who else can handle it, and then, go ahead and delegate that task. So delegate items that are not your strong suit or don't need to be done by you, so you can focus on the things that are. And delete. Okay, is this important? Does this resonate with me? Is this based on a should or an external expectation that I don't necessarily subscribe to? There's some unpacking that can be done there, subconscious stuff that goes on, which again, that's kind of more Club Moxie conversation, but these are good questions to ask yourself. And will deleting this negatively impact my life or relationships in any way? So if it's going to negatively harm any aspect of your life, then absolutely, don't delete it. But most of the time, when we remove something, we tell ourselves it's important, But if we were to go through these questions, likely most often than not, our answer is going to be no, and we can go ahead and delete it. Be ruthless, you guys. Don't hold on to things that don't serve you. It takes up mental, emotional bandwidth that could be spent on something way more important, way more meaningful, way more satisfying. Yeah, just good reminders here. You're not meant to do it all. Deleting items will allow you to keep your mind and energy dedicated to the goals that will have the greatest impact on your life. And then defer. This one's fun. I like this, especially for those of you on our planners, or any planner actually. If the first 3 options don't apply, defer your goal or action step for a later date. So here's some tips. Here's what I do. I will use a Post-it note and I'll put it in my calendar on a page, either on the monthly calendar, or I'll put it on the week that I want to go ahead and do it, or my monthly goals. I'll put a Post-it note or I'll write it down there. For example, I already have in my January goals to schedule all of my doctors and dentist appointments and some maintenance work that I need to get done. I deferred it. It's not happening this quarter, but it's already scheduled for January. Write it on a future goal page, add it to a someday list, have a list in the back of your planners. Most of us are not using those note pages in the back. Have a list of just kind of breakup items that you can be like, I really want to work on this, but not yet. And I'm not sure when that yet is going to be, but it's here and it's not taking up mental space that's stressing me out or bogging me down. And that's a really great way to move things and kind of shift, file them, I guess. And then set a reminder for yourself to revisit the goal or task at a later date. For those of you who are digital, you can do that with reminders. You can put it as an appointment on a future date so that it pings you. Tell Alexa to remind you. I don't know, whatever. Google Home, whatever. Your kids, I don't know. So there's just a bunch of different ways. If you guys have any tips on this, let me know. Okay. Let's see. I want to block people looking for spouses in our comments.
Yeah, I blocked them.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you gotta love the internet. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to close up on this and take some questions and homework. So we're going to be talking about mindset on Friday. Watch series number 1 if you are a team replay. If you have not watched series 1 yet, go back and watch it just to kind of familiarize yourself with stuff. That also talks about our free resources that you can use as either what you're going to build your goals around or use to build your goals, or if you want to use those as worksheets for your planners. Complete your homework from series number 1. Again, if you want to take the next month or 2 months to finish your annual goals, that's totally fine. Again, no rules. There's so many different ways. All of us do it. Mm-hmm. Here's a little bit of a challenge. Because we're in December, we're, wherever you're at when you're watching this, jump into your monthly goals and weekly actions right away. Commit to doing them just for the next couple weeks and play around with them, not with like, I have to do this right and these have to be attached to like something really big. But what I want you to start doing is playing around with the concept of sticking to this habit and this system and seeing how it unfolds for you, and doing it in an imperfect way with permission, as like this is a trial run, will make it a lot easier for you to go ahead and get started right off the bat in January. So just play. We're just pretending.
I love that.
Yeah.
I need to go write that on my intentions. Like, there's a lot I need to go write on my intentions like this day. But if there's one thing that I've got is permission. Yeah. Y'all, I don't know about y'all, but I'm just like permission, and to play. Like, yeah.
And the rest of this is just repeat, join MäksēLife free Facebook group if you haven't. Say hi, share progress, questions, all that stuff. And then be sure to be here on Friday for part 3, which is mindset. So I'm going to talk about some other stuff. Don't leave yet. Hang out for a little bit because we're going to talk about a couple extra things. If you are interested in going deeper with some of this stuff this month for December, we are having 3 Q&As with me and the team. So you can bring your questions. Those usually last about an hour and a half. It's amazing, like golden nuggets packed sessions, it's all focused on goal setting this month. We're going to have a vision board party, which will be really fun. So the teal I know.
I'm really excited about that. I love vision boards. Like, that's like my favorite thing. Like,
I know. I'm excited. And I've created some Canva templates for you guys to use if you want. We'll have those in Club Moxie if you want to do it digitally. So there will be some resources for you guys there too. So enrollment is open. If you sign up today, you get December. Like it's going to cover you through, if you sign up for the quarter, it'll cover you through the end of March, and December is kind of a freebie month so that you can jump in and get started right away. We normally don't open it up until the end of the year, but we wanted to make sure that all of you feel supported if you want extra help around this process. Okay. And I want to talk real fast. I shared what the topics were going to be, but I also wanted to go a little bit deeper. I'm going to share with you the entire framework of Club Moxie on Friday for those of you who are interested at the very end. But our focus is going to be increasing our vitality and our life force in quarter one. I felt like this was very timely. My coaching style is very intuitive. I like to meet you guys where you're at. I really do see and pay attention and notice patterns and things within the group, and just honestly life in general at large, and what's going on, and try to make sure that our topics and our content is always relevant to where you guys are at and what's going on in the world around us. And I feel like a lot of us are feeling like we're starting to wake up from a really crazy couple years. We're trying to figure out what it looks like to fill our tanks back up, how to feel good again. And we're going to start small with just the intentionality, with some very small focuses, some very small nudges within these topics that will help increase our vitality and our life force, but also are going to tie all of this stuff together and just really build on those life skills. January, we're going to be talking about taking imperfect action this year. I'm leaning into action for all of us. That is another focus for me. February, overcoming obstacles to your progress. I mentioned in series number 1 that 80% of us give up on our goals by the middle of February. Most of those people don't have a system, and that's the biggest reason why, because they just don't have anything pulling them through the year. But we're going to talk about some other things that get in the way and what to do with that at that point. And then also we're going to introduce and reintroduce the concept of power appointments and creating momentum. It's daily action. Again, very action focused on whatever it is that you want to work towards. So we're not creating an agenda for you. You get to choose what you work towards, and we're going to give you a framework of how to create serious momentum on your goals and in your life.
Yes, I'm so excited.
I know, me too. All right. Last one. So Friday is going to be mindset at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern here. If you can't attend live, the replays will be available. And that's it.
Yes.
Questions.
Yes. So much goodness.
Also, I put this out because I have notes. This has been a big fan favorite.
It really has. I think I've seen more. Are you bringing these back at any product launch this year? Those 2022 year reflection books? Yes.
So we have some in the store. We've restocked them. There are a couple available, I believe, Chrissy, if she's in the comments, if she can let us know. If not, there's a digital version in our store. I believe it's $5. So it asks you, it's a deeper dive than some of those other reflections that I was talking about, but it's like your wins. What were your highlights? What were your challenges? What lessons did you learn? How did you grow? What are you grateful for? What's working? What's not working? What impact do you want to have and where in your life? What adjustments do you want to make? And then you've got some additional like reflections and an opportunity to write a letter to yourself from your future self, which really is just a beautiful process. So anyway, those are available for you. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you're finding yourself having a hard time formulating what your annual goals are going to be, that would be really helpful.
Yes.
And then I don't want to forget about this.
Yes, I was about to ask you, actually.
I'm like, I cannot forget this. It's so important. So it's been coming up a lot. How do you write your goals? So I give you tips inside the planner on how to write goals. I'm like a SMART goals person modified. And I've been doing this for almost 2 decades. And I got to a point where I'm like, listen, if it answers this question, you're good. You're good. Formulate the wording of your goals so that it answers a question, how much by when? So, for example, this would come up all the time in accountability groups. Someone might say, I want to eat better or be healthier, or I want to work out more, or I want to read more books. Well, that's really vague. There's no way to know what the finish line is and when you're going to do it. And it's really hard to know where to put that goal because it's just kind of out there. It's more of a concept or an intention versus an actual goal. So I would always say, well, okay, when someone says, I want to read more books, my question would be like, how many and by when? Then that pulls out from them. That's my question I ask people as a coach. So I'm like, I'll just tell you, like, how many books are you going to read and when are you going to read them by? So, okay, that looks different. I want to read more books looks different than saying I'm going to read 1 book a month, or I'm going to read 6 books this year, or whatever, or 1 book a quarter. Again, like eating healthier. Well, what does that look like? Because eating healthy is going to look different for me than it is to Darian, to someone else. I'm not going to eat out this week. So that's, so try and formulate your words. Yeah. How many by when or how much by when, and try and be as specific as you possibly can. And one thing with our system that's really great is there's an implied time because you've put it in your monthly goals or your weekly actions. So you don't always have to say like by this date. There is an implied time deadline because of how our system is. But anyway, if you have any questions around a specific goal, go ahead.
Question, because you just said we have implied systems we have our annual, monthly, and weekly actions. If someone has a stretch goal, where would we put that? If it's like a stretch goal that might be longer than a year, like where might we put that?
I would put it, so I have one goal that I'm working towards that, like, okay, I'm going to show this because I brought it up in the group. I have a goal to go, I really want to spend time. I can't even have it spit out of my mouth. Why am I having a hard time sharing this? Okay, I want to spend a month in Italy. That's a goal. Like, I want to spend a month in Italy. That is something I really want to do. So I have it written down in, like, I have this like someday list of goals in my phone because that's just, I'm in there all the time. But this year I made a stretch goal, and thanks to all of you in the free Facebook group gave me resources when I asked about this, but I wanted to learn how to speak Italian. So you guys have turned me on to podcasts, to different learning apps. So my big stretch goal this year is to start learning Italian. And so my annual goal is attached to a longer goal that's not on my goals. It's not written down, but I know I'm working towards it. And then my monthly goals would look like, learn Italian through Duolingo, or pick up this book or that. And then my weekly actions would be do 15 minutes of Duolingo every night or something like that. So that's kind of so those are all attached to something bigger that's not on my annual goals, but they became an annual goal based on a larger vision.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that just helped a lot of people out.
Okay.
Yes. So we got a few questions. If you guys have not submitted your questions already, let me know. But we don't have a lot of questions because I feel like you went over everything so well. The only questions we got is, can you talk about the difference between goals versus focus, and maybe give an example of what a focus would look like, and then that goal supporting that, whether you do that through the annual, monthly, or weekly action?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I thought my planner was right here. I was going to actually just open it up and share. I'm trying to think. I want to give you guys examples with mine, like goals that I wrote this week, or sorry, for December. I'm trying to think what a big focus is for me this month. So one of my focuses is to kind of fill up my tank. And there's a bunch of different ways to do that. And one of them, I have been feeling kind of spiritually disconnected from kind of a deeper connection, higher purpose, higher
Mhm.
power, so to speak. And so my focus for spiritual and personal growth this month was connection to my spirituality. And in order to, that's what I wrote. Now, that wouldn't be a goal because it's like, well, again, how much by when? What does the finish line look like? But that is my focus. And so my focus and for me, was a bunch of items, goals that were specific to that focus. I want to reconnect with that part of myself. How I do that for me personally is to really lean into gratitude, to lean into my own self-awareness and knowing and allowing my intuition to guide me instead of being in my head all the time. And I've created specific goals around that. For me, that also meant reconnecting with someone that is a spiritual mentor of mine and scheduling an appointment with them. And so those were my goals, but they were all filtering into something that isn't necessarily measurable or time or specific.
Mhm.
And so that's the difference. A focus would be more of a wish, an intention, a hope, I guess is probably maybe a simpler way to put it. And then the goals would be the actual like actions and behaviors that support that.
Yes. Love that. And other Moxie Life users, feel free to share your examples
Yeah.
of what's a focus for you and a goal for you. I think a lot of us, we do welcome hearing other examples as well.
A question just popped up. Can I throw it on?
Yeah, go for
This
it.
comes up a lot. So Shannon said, I have a hard time with where to put overlapping goals, like cooking more at home will save money, help improve health and weight, and learn new dishes to keep it interesting. How to document. So this is a really great question. It comes up a lot because there will be goals that could fit in multiple areas of life. And that's actually a good thing. The more that things overlap, the more harmonious I tend to see people's lives be because there's a
Mhm.
common theme um, that's going on. And I feel like the more sure you are about what you're working towards, you'll notice that there's going to be a lot more overlap. So what I recommend is put your goals in the area that it benefits the most, or is achieving the goal that's most important to you. Like that action is going to get you to that bigger goal quicker or is more important for that goal. For example, someone had asked this in our free Facebook group. Something, I can't remember the exact example, but it was something along the lines of, I have a fun and recreation goal, but it works with my family, my fun and recreation and personal. And I use this as an example because I think, especially for those of us who are caretakers or parents, that we may see like, I'm going to take my family to Disneyland. I'm just using this as a random example. That is a big goal. That's a fun and recreation goal, but it's also a family goal. And it's also something I have to save for. And so, what I would encourage someone to do with something like that is put that under the family goals. You're going to have financial goals that go under the finances, like save for Disneyland. You may have a personal goal to buy the tickets, or I don't know. So they'll all start going all over the place. But that main goal, what that main goal is serving, put it in that area. And I'm using this as an example because I see too often, and I want to encourage those of you who are not used to setting goals that are not tied to your family or your children, that fun and recreation and personal goals, I want to encourage you to consider what fun and recreation and rest look like for you outside of your roles. And I want you to consider goals in personal that are outside of your roles and expectations as well. And those are two areas for you to really lean into that we've been socialized to not consider or
Yeah.
to feel bad if you consider. And we are here to tell you you are not bad. That those are things that help you feel good. Those are things that make you good on the inside so that you're better out here. That is important. Rest is important. Vacations are important. Joy is important. We have to create time and space for this stuff. We have to. And so if it feels hard for you, you're in good company. It's totally okay. This is when being curious around like, what does fun and recreation look like for me? What does a personal goal that just serves me look like? I don't even know. It's been so long. I haven't touched a hobby in a long time. Those can all be things that come up that instead of coming up with an arbitrary goal that you think you should, or what a good mom does, or whatever, any of that stuff, allow yourself to write goals that keep you in a space of inquiry and curiosity around what the unfolding of that is going to look like for you. For example, maybe you try out a class of something that you might have interest in. You may hate it and quit, or you may love it and come use that hobby to start your next business. I don't know, but be willing to play and allow yourself to create intangible goals or curiosity goals or research goals or goals that allow you to play and have a spirit of play in how things are unfolding for you. So, okay, I'm off that soapbox.
No, that's good. I love when you get on your soapbox. I'm just over here like, yeah. We have two more questions.
Yes.
Gray Plans asks, would it ever be ideal to map out annual goals to monthly goals ahead of time? If so, can you give an example of where that might be the case?
Yes. Yeah, this is a great question. And I actually think this is a really great for those of us who really are really big into planning. I like planning for the future with flexibility in mind. So that's when I bust out my Post-it notes, and I will put Post-it notes in future months. So if I have a specific goal, for example, business goals, Chrissy and I in January sit down and figure out what our focus is every month. We have a focus in our business, and from that focus, we then create business goals. But I use Post-it notes for those because I will then put them in like February, March, whatever, because something may change, and it usually does. They're still there, but I may rearrange where they go, but I do put them in the future. If you have like a project that you know very specific like action steps or goals that need to happen on a timed basis, that you don't necessarily need like a project management software to manage, then yeah, absolutely. Like I recommend putting them in your future goals pages or on the weeks that you want to get those done and planning that out in advance. I just recommend doing it with Post-it notes because you never know if things can change. That's my only tip on that one. But yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great idea.
Love that. And then our last question for the night comes from Andrea. Andrea asks, can you touch on how progress and maintenance goals would be used during monthly goals or weekly actions?
Yes, great question. Great question. So progress goals, I'm going to give you an example of, a progress goal for me would be I'm going to use health and wellness. A progress goal for me is, this is simple. I need to drink more water, like period. I need to drink more water, water, not like sparkling water. And so for me, that is actually a progress goal. That's a progress goal for me because I'm not currently doing it. I've never really been good at it. And it feels a little scary, but it's also not a stretch goal. It's not a stretch goal. But so I will put that down in my monthly goals, drink. And I'm starting with 40 ounces of water. I want to work up to 80, but I'm starting at 40. That's a win. And I will put 40 ounces of water in January. And then in my weekly goals, I will put 40 ounces of water in my weekly goals. And then I'm going to then put that 40 ounces of water on my habits and track that daily. So it just carries through. And honestly, just the repetition of writing that over and over again really does help me realize, like, am I all in on this goal, or am I going to like hightail it and make a million excuses about why I don't get this done? So the more that you're committed to something, the more you write it down and carry it through, is really helpful. Maintenance goals, like for example, for me, gratitude is a very common practice for me. And I consider gratitude a maintenance goal, but it is written on my monthly goals, it's written on my annual goals, and it's written on my weekly actions every single week. It's written on my habits every single week. I do it. I don't need to remind myself, but it is such an important aspect that if I don't do my gratitude, I notice it affecting my mental health. I actually really do notice that I'm not as happy and positive if I'm not doing my gratitude. So that's an example of a maintenance goal that has every right to show up on my goals pages every single time I write my goals because I don't want to let that go. But it's not a stretch for me to work on it. But it's something that's important enough for me to be mindful of it. And it's also a lot easier for me to pinpoint if I don't get something done. And I've been doing this for so long that I'm like, oh, okay, I've been kind of not as happy and a little bit more critical or judgmental, I need to step back into my gratitude and refocus, get my mind right. And that's when the maintenance goals start to show up and you're like, oh yeah, I need to get back into do well. Hopefully that made sense.
Yes, that was a great question, Andrea. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
That is pretty much all our questions.
Awesome. And if we didn't answer something or there's something that's like very specific, please bring it to the Facebook group. Or if it's something, if you've got a very sensitive thing you're working towards, Club Moxie is a secret group. It is confidentiality is of the utmost importance to us. We've been doing this for 1.5 years, and I feel very proud about the safe environment that we've created for people there. And that kind of stuff pops up, and those things can impede our progress. So if you're finding yourself in kind of that space, Club Moxie is an awesome place for support. We do Q&As where we can unpack some of that stuff between myself and Tracy, who is a licensed therapist for 15 years, who's also pursuing her doctorate in psychology. So you get to have both perspectives. And we've both been doing this for a really long time. So anyway, that's my plug on Club Moxie. But yeah, I even in our free Facebook group, we're all there to help and support you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I know also on Friday, we're going to be talking more about Club Moxie. So if you have any Club Moxie questions in particular, you can also save them for when we come here on Friday and ask us away. Yeah. But this was so much fun. I don't know about y'all, but I'm like ready to go get my planner and start like writing some goals down. I want to rewrite my weekly action. I'm ready and I'm energized, and I hope you guys really enjoyed tonight. If you had any big takeaways, big aha moments, let us know. I literally was over here typing as Sierra was talking, like, yeah, permission to play, self-love and self-acceptance and action, imperfect action. Literally, like, and then when you said I wrote weekly actions and not weekly goals, girl, whew, just the permission, know, that's what I was getting. So a lot of permission, and I hope you guys left with a lot of permission. But I can't wait till Friday when we get to talk about mindset.
Yes. I know. I'm really excited about it because that's just the good stuff. That's the stuff that gets us to where we want to go. It's also what gets in our way. And we don't talk about that stuff enough. And so we normalize it over here. We embrace the messy bits, because if if whatever's kept in the shadows, it will eventually start to pull you down. And the reality is we're human, and we've got all kinds of stuff going on, and it's not just the pretty stuff that ends up on pages. And so this is just an opportunity for us to acknowledge it and be like, all right, I'm over this, I'm moving on, and I'm becoming better because of it. And so anyway, we're going to talk about all that stuff. Anyway, Thank you guys. Love you. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Bye.